Good evening, everybody. This is Dale Little Cheddar Lorenz, and I am doing a player spotlight with that gentleman right over there, Mr. Mike Schultz. Ah, crap! It says Corey Peterson
Yeah,
there.
it does.
That's that's okay. It says it up there. Somewhere over there.
I did not expect to be insulted as soon as I walked in the booth.
Corey Peterson, as we're in the middle of the match, so everybody already knows that, and they already know that it's Corey Peterson that's here embarrassing himself again. So that's nothing new. So welcome to the booth, Mike Schultz, and congratulations on making it to the quarterfinals. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, a little bit about myself. Well, I'm 49 years old, live in McFarland, Wisconsin, married to Maggie, who is here watching and probably commenting on the stream.
I see she's your corner man tonight.
Yeah, I need one. Keep me hydrated. We have 3 kids. One came with Maggie in the marriage, and 2 were with me. Very happy that we're living in McFarland, keeping us busy, all the kids.
I'll be honest with you, Mike. I'm not sure where McFarland is.
Oh, by Madison.
Okay, all right. That's a bit of a drive up here then. That's all right.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half. It's not bad.
All right.
It's worth it.
So what is it that you do?
Well, for a job, I do a lot of things, but for a job, I'm a risk manager at M3 Insurance on the construction side. What that means is, so I used to be a safety director for construction companies. I've had 3 jobs now total, and the first 2 jobs were a construction company in Fond du Lac, that mechanical contractor in the Midwest, and then I went to a general contractor in Madison. But both of them I was a safety professional for, which it's kind of a passion of mine. When you care about people, you try to do all that you can, whether that is on a professional side or a personal side, to, I guess, keep them moving in the right path. And
Yeah, keep them safe.
yeah, keep them safe.
No doubt. So let's talk about your pool game a little bit. How'd you get started?
Oh, well, I started playing pool a long time ago. It kind of started when my dad got a pool table at an auction. That's how I remember it.
Do you remember what kind of pool table it was?
It was a Valley.
All right.
I believe it's a Valley. It was like a 6.5 footer. You know, it's the small home Valley table. I believe it was a Valley.
That's a snooker table for me. Yeah. Okay.
But so it was a family thing, right? Like pool, it was always about family and friends. And my dad played pool, and then he got a table, and then it turned into my dad, my brother, my mom, and myself. That's what we did. And it was a lot of fun. And I got excited about pool when my brother and I, Jeff, would go to either league nights or tournaments that my mom and dad were playing in, and just see how much fun they were having and the friendships that they were creating. You know, we talked today about the pool community and how it's so closely tight-knit. It was like that 45 years ago. You know, it's been like that forever. So that was exciting, and it got me interested, not only in what pool can bring, not just to the family, but also on the friendship side. So it's still true today, you know. And then what got me excited about pool the most, I think, was that competitive nature. And, you know, growing up where you're the youngest, it was just me and my brother as the kids, but 2 years older than me, kicking my ass and everything else.
Sure.
So pool was something that I think that I could see some light and compete with, regardless of size or athletic ability.
You know, one of the things that, and I know I've commentated on it a couple of times, the fact that you sit here and you say you're very competitive, but on the outside, it doesn't show, because you are one of the most mild-mannered. You know, when you're at the table, you're like one of the professionals that you see out there, that you don't react. You don't get down on yourself. You don't get excited about yourself. At least you don't show it on the outside. Your sportsmanship and everything else around the table is exemplary.
Well, when you have lost as many games as I have, no, but seriously, if you start to get down and you and maybe you're not stroking it the way that you feel like you should be, or like I did my last match, I scratched before the 9 ball. When that happens, there's nothing you can really do about it except go sit down and then take advantage of the opportunity with the next time that you're at the table.
Yeah, you can't change it. Yeah, there's
No,
no doubt about it. And you
no.
bring that negative energy back with you to the table the next time you're up, and you're going to be missing again.
Yeah, and when you're fighting nerves and fighting the lights and fighting what you're already up against, the table, the opponent, why add yourself to that mix?
So speaking of nerves, are you nervous for tonight?
Yeah, I'd lie if I said I wasn't. More anxious, excited, nervous.
Sure.
And you said this. I'm probably more nervous coming in the booth than I am out at the table. So I'll be excited. I know the match is already going, but
Yeah.
at this point, right now in time, I'll feel better once the match starts.
Yeah, and that's typically it. Every single player that has been, unless they do a ton of public speaking, this is probably the most uncomfortable part of the entire match. There's no doubt about it being in here. So
Yeah, I think that the comfort level, you make it comfortable. Pointing out at the cheeseburger that you're waiting for. I say that only because you're rubbing my leg.
oh yes,
No,
yes,
I'm kidding.
There's a big desk underneath.
So I will say one thing about the stream, and if you've never played on the stream, I played for my first time on a stream up at the Mad Apple against Vincent Schrader. That was my first time ever.
King of the
And
Hill,
King of the well, it was the Knights Challenge, I
Yep.
believe, or what?
Knights Division. Sure.
I mean, Vincent's a great shooter, but I just never got comfortable with the lights, the brightness of the table, and just thinking about, man, what are they saying about me now? Because that was stupid what I just did. But
Patrick Glynn and Chris G were probably in the booth,
yeah,
or
actually,
MH.
Maggie was.
Maggie was in the booth?
Yeah.
Wow.
She was commentating on it, and all I'm thinking is, man, come on, be nice to me.
So, prior to a match like this, what do you do to settle your nerves? I mean, do you have practice drills that you will typically do
Well,
before a match, or do you just get out and bang balls around?
I think that in terms of shooting pool, I'm already where I'm at. Okay, I mean, I can improve. I don't mean that I have already mastered it. What I mean by that is, when it gets to be an hour and a half before the match, the prep that I can make is all mental. So I talk about what are the things that I've seen myself do that are going to hold me back, getting up on a shot, getting down if I'm not making the ball or getting my spot. For example, today, what I talked about was the last time I played against Steve is I wasn't hitting my safes, wasn't hitting the spot. So I made sure that I reminded myself that that's an important piece of the game. Make sure that I'm hitting those safes. Hopefully I am.
Well, if not, Corey's going to let you have it. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
He probably already has at some point. So you just mentioned your match against Steve Martin. Go through those 3 matches. Is there anything in those 3 matches that you can pick out was either a very memorable moment or a defining turn?
Well, I enjoyed all 3. Meeting those gentlemen that I played. I had not met either of them, prior to the match. So that was enjoyable. But, of course, as you can imagine, coming back from being down against Steve, that's going to always be memorable. It helped me in my prep, my inner monologue, to know that, hey, I'm never out of it. So I felt really good about that. I actually was proud of myself for that. It was a daunting task.
That was
down.
a fun match to watch.
I feel like what the conversation I was having at myself at the table was that I am shooting good enough to win. Just stop making those little mistakes, and don't get down. Right, like sit down and stay mild mannered. That's, again, I joke about this with my teammates. Actually, my Tuesday night teammates, is that because they're fairly young, except Jason Gibbs and I are about the same age. And I'm like, when they get frustrated, I tell them, hey, I've lost more games than you guys have played. It's like, don't, you're going to lose games. It's
No
just
doubt.
going to happen.
We're not pros.
No.
We have day jobs and everything else, family. And so outside of family, outside of pool, outside of your job, what does Mike Schultz like to do for hobbies?
Well, I like to do a lot of stuff, but lately it's been pool. And that's a tough one. I'm always busy. We have a house that we bought probably 3 years ago that I don't want to say it's a fixer upper because it's a very nice house, but it needed some remodeling. So we focus a lot of attention on that. We purchased a house in Stoughton, Wisconsin, to flip originally, so we spent a lot of time with that, and now we use it as a rental property. So that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And Finley, our youngest, is absolutely busy in sports, soccer right now, swimming, so that keeps us busy. My daughter's at Stevens Point, so every night I lay awake worried.
We've got a daughter in California and a daughter up in Green Bay. Believe me, I know. You worry about them all the time.
Yeah. Well, Evan's going to school at Madison College, so he's still staying at home, and I worry about him every night too.
I can imagine.
For no reason. The kids are fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's a dad thing, I guess.
It should be. Yes. Yep. Without a doubt. Well, as I've said with every other player that's been, I hope you're playing well. I hope you're getting the most out of your experience in the Knockout Challenge, and I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Very much so.
I hope I'm having fun. That's all.
I'm sure you are. Thanks, Mike.